everyone, my name is Danielle and this video is for my Global Economics Leadership class, which is part of my ORU MBA program. So I'm first going to define micro and macroeconomics. Microeconomics, as Merriam-Webster defines it, is a study of economics in terms of individual areas of activity. So in other words, microeconomics is concerned with how individuals choose to use scarce resources. Macroeconomics is concerned with whole systems and the economy as a whole. So macroeconomics deals with governments, inflation, and so on. So supply is defined as the amount of a product or resource available to the consumer. Demand is the degree of desire from the consumer that is being placed on a particular product or resource. And of course, these two terms are associated with microeconomics. So an example of supply and demand, we've one market that we've been seeing and hearing a great deal about in the past few years is the housing market. Because demand for homes has been so high and supply of homes has been so low, it has caused a great deal of increase in the price of homes. So this is a great example of supply and demand. When supply and demand are equal in the market, market equilibrium occurs. Next, I'm going to be discussing the circular flow of income and expenditures, which is associated with macroeconomics. Our Khan Academy video that we reviewed in this week's lesson concisely explains the relationship between income and expenditures. So our organizations pay us wages for our time making the products that we buy for consumption. And this is an example of the circular flow of income and expenditures. So, and even another example of this would be an individual who works at a grocery store. The grocery store pays wages to its employee, which is an expenditure to the grocery store. The employee uses part of his wages to buy food. So his wages are his income, which he then uses to buy food, which is an expenditure to the employee. But however, it is income for the grocery store. So this is another example of the circular flow of income and expenditures. And we also discussed parsing gross domestic product, or GDP. When parsing GDP, it is important to use the market value of a final good. So for example, the market value, what consumers are willing to pay for a fully assembled iPhone, not a partially completed iPhone in a factory. That would be considered work in process. But the market value of the fully assembled iPhone, that is included in calculating GDP. GDP does not include, of course, illegal activity, and it also does not factor in goods and services produced and consumed within a household. So, for example, I am an accountant. If I were to work at a CPA firm preparing tax returns, the tax returns that I prepare for the clients of the firm would be included in GDP. However, say I had adult children living at home, they had jobs. If I prepare and file their tax returns, it would not be included in GDP since it is being produced within my household. So gross national product takes into account income being produced by its citizens, regardless of whether they are producing said income inside or outside the country. Whereas GDP just takes into account goods and services being produced inside the country, whether or not a U.S. citizen produced them.